everyone, welcome back along to the channel. I am in Hastings this morning again with my 045. The weather is awful. It's actually been hammering it down all morning. I've got this little break. There's another big cloud, so it probably won't be for long, but it's windy, it's wet, but we're hopefully going to get a couple of nice shots this morning. I've got some Ilford Delta loaded up. Exposure time's around 4 to 7 seconds, depending on what focal length I'm using. So yeah, gonna have a little wander, see what we can find, and hopefully get what we can before it starts chucking it down rain again. So the first thing I spotted, which I wanted to photograph, was this boat. The flag on the top waving in the wind, the boy swaying on the side of the boat there. And this was kind of the angle that I wanted, just the back end of the boat and these really nice clouds in the back. So I had my 045 set up with the 50mm. Test the shutter, and I also had it in the portrait mode as I didn't want to get too much lengthways with it, so I felt it was going to be a better view for the image. So finally had a composition I was happy with, removed the dark slide and opened the shutter. So the final result is one I'm actually really pleased with. Probably my favourite from the morning. You can see the buoy there that's been slightly moved by the wind, the flag on top being battered by the wind, the clouds in the background came out really well. You can see some of the motion in the sea. One of the things that I really love about pinhole photography in bad weather is it just seems to capture it really well. You're not concentrating on sharpness and stuff, it has a natural softness to it and just kind of a natural rawness to it, and I think it's just certainly something that works in bad weather. And it's I've always found images on rough days with a pinhole camera are just by far my favourite, definitely. Walking further along the beach, this little boat caught my eye, and there's all the little flags and all the pop markers which really stood out, all getting knocked about in the wind again. So I took a bit of shelter and switched my camera around to the 25mm. By this point it was hammering down quite hard. I was going to get a photo kind of straight on and really concentrating on them flags from about here, but for some reason I ended up switching over a little bit and kind of trying to get like a low down angle of these ropes and buoys and stuff. So for this I had a 45-second exposure, and again it's really hammering it down. I used this rag to keep my dark slide clean and dry, and opened the shutter for 45 seconds and hope for the best. So the final result is one I'm not too happy with. The composition's a little bit sloppy. I could have come more over to the right, which I think might have worked. I'm going to blame the weather. Absolutely freezing and soaked at this point. but it's certainly one I'll be coming back to. I should have maybe more concentrated on where the flags were, where I was going to be originally. But overall, it's not overly bad, but certainly I do feel it could have been a lot better. So at this point the rain was really bad, and I decided to take some shelter underneath this boat, and while I was under there I thought I might as well get a photo. So I set the camera up looking out at the propeller. Again, I had it on the 25mm super wide, just to try and capture as much as it is possible. So I had a 30-second exposure for this, so it was just nice to be out the rain for a short time. Heading a little bit further along Hastings seafront, I came across this sculpture to mark the 950th anniversary of the Battle of Hastings of a Norman boat. I had my camera set up to the 50mm in portrait for this one. Unfortunately the shot didn't come out as well as I hoped. I think I may have slightly overexposed it. Also there was possibly a bit of a water drop over part of the pinhole, as it had a little bit of a funny effect on the bottom, but it's one I certainly want to go back to. It may even work better on a sunnier day when there's a lot of people and movement also around it, but it wasn't quite what I had hoped. But even so, it's something for me to go back to in the future. So heading a little bit further on from there, I wanted to get a photo of one of these Lifeguard huts on the beach. Now I could have gone on with some quite creative angles, but for some reason for shots like this I quite like a very square on image. Nice central straight horizon, the hut directly in the centre of the image. Quite a few of my shots which I've done similar, I always seem to prefer this sort of, it's quite a boring angle really, but for some reason I feel it works quite well. So I still had the 50mm set up and about an 8-second exposure on this. And the final image I feel actually came out quite well. It's exposed really nicely, and again, nice straight horizon, the hut dead centre. I'm not quite sure what it is I like about images like this, but it's just something that appeals to me, and I feel this one actually came out quite well. Heading back to my car, I walked past all these little huts, which is where they sell the fish straight from the boats normally in the mornings. This little one stood out to me the most. Again, it's probably the flag flapping in the wind, and it just had a bit of junk left around it and stuff, and it just seemed to fit the scene and the feel of the image that I really wanted. So I set this one up quite quick. My car parking was running out and there were lots more people turning up for the day. So again, this was another quite square on image, but I felt it was probably more right for the shot that I wanted. And the final image from that one is one, again, I'm actually quite pleased with. You can see the flag in the background being hit. The seagull on top has just stayed there nice and still. It's got some good detail in the sky and on the foreground. And It's just seems to work quite nicely. So I think I'd like to go back to this area and photograph this a bit more. There's lots of old smokehouses and stuff, so it's certainly an area I'll be exploring more over the coming months. Right everyone, that was it. I'm back in the car. Thankfully the rain stopped, but I got soaked earlier and it is cold and wet and horrible now, so I'm going to call that a day. Hopefully I got some 6 photos. But that was nice. It's an area I do really like over here, Hastings, and I certainly plan, particularly over the winter months, coming over here more. Summer, I'm not always a big fan in the summer anyway, but the nice darker days and the rain and the wind, it always adds a bit to it. I've also got a new camera coming, more on that soon, which I'm quite excited about, another 4x5. And yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed the video. I'm off to treat myself to a coffee. A big thanks to everyone who has supported me on the Buy Me a Coffee page. I really have appreciated it. It makes all this wet and cold and horribleness worthwhile. It seriously does. And to know that people are really actually enjoying the photos and the videos and stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time I'm out. Thanks again for watching.